just joined us. Neil, great to see you again, and welcome. I'll say good morning, even though I know there's a time difference.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Welcome and happy birthday to you all.
Yes, happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you, Neil.
And Neil is the leader of the Ader District Administrative Council. I may have butchered that a little bit, Neil,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
right.
believe he would be, if we kind of lined up how the two governments work, I believe he would be Doug's equivalent on here in this Southwick. So, and we've had a lot of fun chatting. Stephen, I had the first conversation with Stephen, and he said, "Now I gotta tell you that when you meet Neil, he's a bit of a Yankophile." And I said, Yankophile. I always have to stop and think about file and phobe. I said, that's either really, really good or really, really bad. But and then the logic kicked in, and I said, no, that's a good thing. And he has visited New England before, New Jersey, other places.
Massachusetts. I've been to Boston. 3 times.
But
Fantastic.
there is a mistake in that he never got west of 128. So hopefully that someday.
And you're nearly in Connecticut, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
Yep.
We're surrounded.
Yeah, I was going to say, you are particularly, Jim. I Google Earth you, and it's only a short stroll down the road.
It's always been an issue since we've had GPS, because a lot of times people that are trying to come in here, it keeps wanting to take them back about 500 feet over to a place called Rising Corner in Connecticut. So yes, we are right on the border. So I'm going to introduce Marcus Phelps, who's also a member of our 250th anniversary committee, very active in a lot of town stuff, another retired dude like me, and been very active with the 250 activities, as has been Freda. And we've all had to make some adaptations here due to the pandemic on this side of the pond. So we'll wait for a couple more people. I don't know what time it is. 10 o'clock. Carl, do you want to predict what order we're going to get Fox and Dee Dee in here?
We'll probably get Dee Dee first, but I can text them and remind them that.
I just did there, Carl.
Okay, they're running a little late because the selectmen do have a saying, and it says, "Start without me." That is their saying.
I learned that from Carl, correct. And
right.
And contrary,
as long as you have a quorum, start without me.
And before Russ gets here, contrary to a lot of controversy, Russ was not at the signing of the official incorporation of the town of Southwick.
Right, yeah. Yes, yeah.
We do like to joke, but I don't think he was actually there.
Yeah, my Mr. Chip there likes to say I was here when the Romans came.
I did.
I thought that you'd built one of those houses, Neil, in Southwick, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, thank you.
I did watch the video of you two on the town green talking about that, and the old buildings and architecture behind you, but it was beautiful, beautiful town green there.
Yeah, yes, a lovely spot, lovely spot. Yeah.
It's I'd say it's probably quintessentially English. You can't get much more quintessentially English than a village green with where
they play cricket
and a pub just behind you, so you can have your beer. It's pretty quintessentially British.
Neil, you were mentioning that we're surrounded by Connecticut on 3 sides, and there's actually a house in our town, and some of the better historians could help me with this, but it's actually been in about 3 different cities, 3 or 4 different counties, 4 towns, 2 states, and 3 or 4 cities, and it has never moved just because of the boundary dispute that's existed there at the notch since way back. Wow. What was the answer, Frida?
4 towns, 3 counties, 2 states, and there's some other thing that we no longer have. So
Wow.
Crazy.
And it's never moved. It's been in the same spot forever.
Yeah.
and it is now our town museum.
Ah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So-
we've our little town museum was built in 1230.
Wow.
I was going to say that some of our historical buildings would be considered new construction.
logging on?
Yeah.
I forgot.
I must admit, America, when I've
Okay.
met some people in the States, and they've
All right,
said,
I'll
"Oh,
let,
this is
I'll
our
let
historic
Doug know.
building,"
Okay.
and I've had to say to them, "I've lived in older houses than that."
Okay. Oh, no, I'm not saying that. Okay. Bye.
Here's Joe is coming in.
Yeah, Russ said start without him. He's got a couple of things going that are very busy for his business.
No worries.
So we'll have a little
So-
fun with the Joe Didi meme here when he comes on with the sound, because there is a little bit of story connected to that image. I don't know whether we'll see Joe or just the malicious truck, but
Well, we'll certainly hear from him.
Oh
we
yeah,
will
no
hear
doubt
from him.
about
No
that.
question about that. No question about that.
He's probably more like Neil.
So Joe, are you with us yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Connecting to audio. Well,
Yeah.
we got 28 cars lined up for the procession today.
Super.
Yeah.
Marcus, do you have the senior citizen van in there too?
Yeah, I heard a rumor from the chief of police that that was going to be in the procession, so I added it in. Are you driving?
I'm gonna drive because Joe wants me to drive the oldest public official in town.
Nice.
Oh, poor Russ is going to pay for missing this call, isn't he?
Oh,
He's
yes, he
gonna
is.
pay. You know, we should make him chairman of the Zoom video call subcommittee, because that's what happens when you miss a meeting. They make you chairman of something.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Neil, when these people miss meetings or other people miss meetings, they've been known to make people truant officers, all sorts of titles, and they vote them into these positions and they don't even know what they're supposed to be doing.
Can I just ask that you
I'm
don't
good
give
at
my
that.
leader any ideas whatsoever? Thank you very much. Neil doesn't need any ideas whatsoever.
Hey, Doug, Joe just texted me. He's looking for the passcode. So call him up.
Hold
and
on,
give him
I'll
that.
get it for him.
Okay, 653-798.
Yes.
So while we're waiting for him, just another, I'm going to throw out a improvised thought here to Neil and Stephen. And if they don't want to touch it with we always say a 10-foot pole, you can just pass on it. But so I'm thinking after this week here in America that your queen and prime minister are thinking, thank God we got rid of those folks 250 years ago. Is there any credibility to that, or would you rather pass?
If you think about it, if you'd stayed part, you wouldn't been having presidential elections.
Mm.
You wouldn't have the system you've got. You'd have been one of the ex-colonies like Australia and that, but you'd have the same system we have. And you'd be having a general election and a prime minister, wouldn't you? Yeah, like Canada has, like Australia have.
Yeah, good point.
It's only your system grew out of how you became, wasn't it?
An experiment.
Yeah, I don't think it's worked.
Well, you know how hypotheses
The
work.
first couple of 100 years were okay, right? You know.
So
I
Neil,
think-
now I understand why you're the political leader in the Ader district. Now that was a very
Diplomatic, wasn't it?
smooth answer. You managed to give us a little bit of history, a little bit of viewpoint, but in a very smooth way without causing us to be offended. Although comparing us to Canada got very close.
Yeah. No, I said on that one.
But we're okay. I think
just say
we'll
one
go
thing?
ahead and do some self-introductions here rather than wait for Joe to come on. He'll get
He's
here.
coming in. We'll get him in eventually.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you keep working on that. I think
There he is.
there he
There he
is.
is.
Good morning,
is.
Joe.
Mr. Vice
Joining the
Chairman.
audio, and he's connected now. Joe, can you hear us?
Wow.
Hi,
So,
Joe.
Joe, I have introduced everybody who's already on the line. A big Southwick, Mass. Welcome to Neil Parkin and Stephen Chip, our friends from Southwick, England. And rather than engage you right now, I'm going to give you a moment to settle in and get your dish of ice cream out. And we'll start with some self-introductions. So I'm going to try to go by alphabet here, but let's start on the east side of the ocean. So Stephen, you want to do a brief self-introduction, please?
Hello there. I'm Stephen Chip. I'm a councillor in Ada District, and I actually am one of the councillors that represent Southwick Greenwood, which is Southwick. So I was really, really pleased to hear from Jim. I'm very pleased to join you guys for your 250th birthday for Southwick in Massachusetts. I'm a married father of 2. I apologize for any noise that is going to occur, but it all seems very casual here today, so that's great. I've got a daughter who is 8. I've got a son who is 5. As you may have seen, if you see my videos, I've got a dog and I walk up the Downs. So as I'm sitting here, the sea is that way to the south and the Downs is north, just a couple of minutes. So we're in a really beautiful part of the UK, just south of London, and yeah, very, very blessed to be here.
And welcome, and enjoyed meeting Poppy is your dog, right? And you may have heard Kirby a little bit in the background here. He's advising visitors on the hiking trail next door that he's got his eye on him. So, Freda, let's go over to you.
So I'm Freda Brown. I am the events chair for the Southwick 250th, which ended up not having a whole lot to do because they all closed down and we didn't have any events after February, but hopefully we'll be able to resume some of those soon. I am an enrolled agent with the so that I do taxes and I also do divorce financial services. And if you ever come to Southwick, Massachusetts, you need to play disc golf on the New England Disc Golf Center.
Okay, that's a question I've got in a minute. What's disc golf? But we'll come back to that.
All right. Well, let's go to Neil.
Neil Parkin. I'm the leader of Ada District. As Jim said, I have been for 20 years, and I'm a Southwick resident. I wasn't born here. I don't know what anybody who was born in your town's called, but over here, if you're born in Southwick, you're known as a Wicker.
Oh, wow.
And but I wasn't actually born here. I was born in South London, but the parents moved down here when I was very little. But so yeah, I've been the leader of the council for 20 years, and I used to represent a Southwick seat, but now I represent one in Shoreham, which is the slightly bigger town next door.
Very good. Joe, you ready to do a self-introduction? You're on mute.
No, you're good, Joe. Can you hear us?
Yeah, what's going on? What's up?
Hey, introduce yourself, my friend.
Joe Didi.
That's it, huh?
No, yeah.
Entrepreneur
So,
extraordinaire.
he's an entrepreneur. He's the king of ice cream in the town of Southwick. And Joe, how long have you lived in Southwick?
Moved here in 76, 75, something like that. 7th grade, started in 7th grade here. So I'm not a townie.
Close enough.
No.
Let's move up to Deb.
Hi there, Deb Harris. As Jim mentioned, I do outreach and communications for 250. I'm retired, although my husband doesn't think so. I'm on lots of committees and trying to help out where I can. I actually moved from California to Southwick, if you can believe that. That's how great this town is. Anyway, happy to meet you all.
And I probably won't get this exactly in order, but let's move up to Doug Moglen.
Good afternoon. My name's Doug Moglen. I've lived in Southwick about 23 years. I'm originally from New Jersey. In Southwick, doesn't matter if you've lived here 25 years or 40 years. If you weren't born here, you won't be from here, because there's people that are 7, 8, 9, 10 generations from here. So you'll always be the new guy. I will be the new guy forever. I've been a selectman now for about 6 years. I work at a computer company here in our town, and I'm married. I have a daughter who's 17 and a senior in high school.
Very good. Marcus.
Yes, Marcus Phelps here. Phelps family came to America in 1630. We wanted to wait a little while. We didn't want to come in 1620. We were more cautious. Anyway, I'm the 13th generation of Phelps to live in America. And I grew up in Southwick, a great town, lived down near the lakes, Congamon Road. You'll probably hear about our wonderful lakes. And right now I'm an elected member of the planning board, and also still coordinator for our parade, which didn't happen this year because of all the virus. So maybe October 10th, 2021, we'll have a grand parade in the town. So in lieu of the parade, we're doing a vehicle procession today, starting at 2 p.m. our time, and probably lasts a couple hours. Right now we have 28 vehicles signed up. That includes police, fire, and a whole list of other things. So it should be a great time. The weather is awesome here. For November, 73 to 75 degrees is fabulous. Anyway,
Well, to say, I checked this morning, and you're the same temperature as we are. We're the same temperature today,
Wow.
Fantastic.
which is
Must
pretty
be a
impressive for us as
sign.
well. Yeah.
Must be a sign of something good. Carl, go ahead.
Sure. I mean, alphabetically, it was you next, James, but if you want me to, we can go out of order. My name is Carl Steinhardt. I was born in Boston, Mass. I was from Watertown, which is incorporated 1630 along the Charles River. So, and I came out here after going to school at Suffolk University in the late 1980s, and I've been married, and I have 3 children, a 27-year-old, a 25-year-old boys, and a 21-year-old daughter who's in college right now. And I've had I have a dog and 2 cats, and I live on the west part of Southwick, up at the base of the mountains into Granville. So, you know, beautiful country out here. And it's just a beautiful town. That's why my wife and I settled here and stayed here and raised our children here. So those are the important things in life that count. And I get to work with a bunch of great people. And we still have the open town meeting format of government, which is basically the purest one you can have anywhere. And it's very unique to only New England towns. Outside of New England, nobody has even heard of town meeting. And we really have a town hall. So when they talk about these things you see on CNN where they're going to have a town hall, we have the real town halls. So we have the real public meetings. A lot of volunteerism in our community, a lot of boards and committees, a lot of people transacting business amongst themselves and with citizens through the Zoom call platform now. So we're managing to make everything work under these circumstances, and we'll get through this, and we'll be able to go back to normal living in a couple of years, and by then we'll probably have another election.
So I'll wrap up. I'm in the enviable position. Most of you know at least something about me, if not a lot. if I exaggerate or make stuff up, Freda and or Marcus are gonna quickly correct me, because we all go way back in Southwick, but pretty much a lifetime resident. It's not my family moved here in 1956. Most people in Southwick would think that we probably settled, but that's not true. Happily married, 3 children of my own, 2 stepchildren, 4 grandchildren, 2 older ones in college, 2 twins in New Jersey that we miss a lot as we shelter here. So great self-introductions. Let's get going with the questions. So I'm going to throw the first one out, and then Neil or Stephen, I'll let you throw one back at us. So the first question going from the west side here is, if we had a day to visit you folks in Southwick, and we got to get back to our hotel or something by early evening, what would you try to show us in your Southwick? What would you want to make sure that we saw for the day?
I think what we showed on the video, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, there's probably one at the end in terms of people passing present. For me personally, I would start you off up in the Downs, which is literally
the up or the Downs looking down. Yeah.
So you could see the whole of Southwick down to the sea. You could then take a nice walk down through the little bit of town and down through the green, and I could take you to the beer engine for a pint of English beer. Me and Neil are known for our like of a pint or two. And you could then mooch over, which you didn't really see. It is industrial, the harbour, but actually there's some lock gates that you can walk across to then get out onto a nice bit of beach that used to be secluded and not many people knew about until we had coronavirus, and now everyone goes down there. We're finding that lots of secluded places are no longer that secluded because, of course, everyone went out and was walking. So yeah, really just go from north to south, with definitely a pint of beer on the way through. That would be my day out for you in Southwick.
Nice.
That sounds good.
As long as you've already kind of teed up another question, so what beer are you going to recommend that we have for lunch?
Neil, do you want to go, or you're more of what? I'll drink anything. I'll be honest with you. If it's a beer, if it's a warm summer's day, it's a cold beer. I quite like IPA. So it's Indian Pale Ale, isn't it? IPA is you did actually
very big in the States, Steve. Very big.
Yeah, you've got Ghost Ship and things like that, which I think is an American Pale Ale and IPA. So yeah, anything. There's lots and lots now of sort of artisan brewers and small micro pubs that people are really going for the more artisan type of beers. And I used to drink sort of European lager, which you get taken the mick out of if you're drinking that. And
he's got wiser as he's got older. He's got wiser.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've also, near us, about 10 miles away, is a small town called Lewis that used to be the most important town in the whole area. There's a big castle there and all this sort of thing. And they've got a brewery there called Harvey's. And this brewery, they've been making beer there for 200 years. And their beer is woo. Yes, that's my favourite. I do like a pint of Harvey's.
Is it what is it, an amber ale, or is it a stout, or?
Well, across the board, but yeah. The one I like's it's you call it probably an amber ale. Yes,
that's good. Yep.
Yeah. Not very fizzy, at all. Yours tend to be a bit more fizzy than ours. In fact, you'd probably sometimes wonder what's the matter with ours because it's sort of warm and fairly flat. But it's good drop of stuff, Harvey's.
We're fortunate. We also have a small brewery in our town now that's recently opened in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah,
Westfield River Brewery. Yeah.
What would be your beer, or ladies? What would be your choice of drink if it's not a pint of beer, or however you choose to? Do you have it in? There's a question as well. Do you have it in pints? Do you have it in liters? I don't know. I mean, Germans drink it in great big liters, don't they? But how do you drink, and what do you drink?
So, Freda, what are they serving up at your place these days?
Well, we're not allowed to serve anything at the moment, but we're hoping, I don't even know I was supposed to tell you that because we're planning something, a farmhouse, tap room, maybe. So
No, it's
but
what
that has to go. We haven't even gone to anybody to talk to it about it, but we've been approached.
I wasn't trying to get you to confess in front of the selectmen here. So
Hang
so
on,
if
I gotta
just
make a call.
if I just dropped by after the procession, what would we drink?
Not at my house, not at my, we can't serve food and drink until we have toilets.
Oh, okay,
And I only have a porta potty.
okay. So
You
Deb,
can use my porta potty.
Deb, what would we have at your house?
Oh, at my house, wine. Oh, and I have
Oh,
beer.
wine.
Wine and
Okay.
beer.
Wine and
Fine.
beer.
Yes.
Any particular recommendation on wine?
Yeah, Costco's. Kirkland brand.
Good stuff.
Obviously,
Something from Napa Valley,
Greta
I
is a
expect.
value buyer because Kirkland's a very good wine, actually.
Yes.
For the price. Deb, what would we get at your place on South Pond?
Probably some red wine or white wine. And Neil, did you just say you'd been to Napa Valley?
No, I've been past it.
Oh.
Been past it.
Okay.
I've been to California and Arizona and Nevada and various bits in New England and New York and things. Yeah. My main friends over there live in Freehold, New Jersey.
Okay. Doug knows New Jersey.
I spent many an afternoon at that racetrack in Freehold, New Jersey when I was supposed to be in
Absolutely.
college classes. Yes.
Well, so they're family friends, you know, and we've been over there on holiday and we've been down to Florida together as a families, and they're great, and they're fourth generation Italian New York. They were from New York and moved to New Jersey to get better housing, you know. But they're typical New Yorkers, you know, full in your face and full of attitude.
Yeah, so we'd be serving Napa Valley wine or Chilean wine. And we just came back from Argentina before the
Oh, I like Argentina.
Yeah, and visited some great wineries there. But the wines here in New York and surrounding areas are more of a sweet wine. So if you like sweet wines, we have some great ones here.
I like the Argentines.
Stephen, why don't you take one of yours and Sam's questions?
Yeah, no
Right.
problems. Well, my kids really wanted to know what's a traditional lunch for us is a Sunday roast. So we'll have a roast chicken or beef and roast potatoes and gravy and vegetables. What would be a traditional Sunday lunch for you guys in the States? Would it be similar?
Marcus,
Pizza.
what's a traditional Sunday lunch over on Depot Street?
Well, usually when we get home from church, we'll have a cheese sandwich.
All right. Well, let's see if we can do better than that. Joe, what are we having at Malicious?
Unfortunately, being an American, everything's 100 miles an hour. I can't remember the last time I actually sat down on a Sunday for an actual real lunch like you speak of. That would be called Thanksgiving for us.
Yeah.
We just don't, at least in my world, we just move too fast to deal with that.
Oh.
Sorry.
No,
All right, we're not doing very well on this, Doug. What are we having at Sunday lunch at your place?
You know, I kind of agree with Joe. We tend to focus more on a Sunday dinner than a Sunday lunch. So maybe an early
well,
you know,
either it depends.
you know,
lunch for him because he's got kids, you see.
Yeah.
Sure.
My kids are in
So we
bed.
would
The
have
rest of us go
usually
to the pub. We
an
go to the
earlier
pub at
Sunday
lunchtime.
dinner, because it's one of the few days where, you know, we're all home and together and we can sit down and have a meal together. And so it may be, you know, some kind of meat, some kind of vegetable, and you know, some kind of side. So, you know, usually a salad and, you know, like you said, chicken or beef, and then some vegetables. And, you know, it's basically a one family meal a week for us in my household where we can all kind of be together, especially with, the last year or so with all this COVID, usually around 6 or 6:30 is my night starts again with all the Zoom calls for different boards and commissions in town. So I've missed a few meals over the last 8 or 9 months, not by looking at me though. I think I've put on the COVID-15 sitting at my desk snacking all the time. If I can ask one question out of turn, Jim, what's written behind Steven's head there on the wall? Is that like some kind of menu or is that a grocery list?
If
No,
it's
no,
a
no.
menu, what's the
That-
pricing?
Okay. That's my daughter's 50 spelling tests words.
Okay.
There's my son's 13 and he nailed all 13 of them.
Very
And
well.
that she had her test yesterday because our kids are back at school, which is, thank God, very important for us. Yeah, the kids, I'm now working remotely, but they had she had a spelling test yesterday. So that's not a food list for us for a week.
Thank you.
No problems.
So Freda, just rescue us on this because I know you're a great cook. How about a nice Sunday lunch at your place? What would you be? And I'll just tee it up a little bit more here. Grandchildren and children over for Sunday lunch at Freda's. What are you going to serve?
Well, it would be more like Saturday evening over lunch, with kids over and family thing. We did a lot of Saturday things, not so much so Sunday things, but we do Sunday in the summertime, out on the deck, barbecue, could be pork, could be chicken,
Amen.
potatoes, but everything's barbecued. And by the way, my son Randy comes and does all the barbecuing. He cooks all the food, he brings all the food, and we sit around the table on the deck, and then the kids go play swim, or they come up and they play badminton outside, or they go inside and play ping pong, and just sit around and talk. But mostly it's all cooked on the grill.
I have to say that
Sounds good.
we do. It's only been recently, and the weather changes. I have a barbecue that is I basically live with it for the whole. While it's possible in England, that's what's used. But when we start turning, my mother's a farmer's daughter, and it's kind of I think quite traditional throughout the UK that a Sunday is a Sunday roast. And then for Christmas, or that it just gets a bit added more to it. So you add the pigs in blankets and whatever else. But yeah, normally it's summer months is barbecue, winter months is a Sunday roast.
That's about what it is for us, Stephen. We'll some chicken roast, or maybe something on the grill, or a pot roast, or my wife makes a lot of different vegetables and vegetarian stuff for herself. And what happens when kids are older, there's football games. So they're just disappearing to go over their friends' houses to watch football games, because when everybody's old enough, they have licenses and they drive. And
Sure. Younger as
the
well.
next few years when yours are driving off somewhere.
Yeah. Is it 15, 16 in the States you can drive?
16 and a half.
16. So it's 17 over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids, I've got a 19-year-old son who does drive and a 17-year-old that's about to take her test.
Let me know, Neil. I'll keep off the roads.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I say, my New Jersey friends, I've been heavily influenced by them, and Stephen might be having roast and that, but I have a lot of meals that you'd probably think are American Italian Sunday lunches now. You know, meat pasta with Sunday gravy and meatball and Italian sausage and all that sort of thing. Which are really nice, really nice. Enjoy it.
Pasta meals.
Yeah. Big bowl of pasta. Everybody shares.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Joe, your family and some friends are going to put on a Thanksgiving dinner for seniors, for people who can't afford to do it themselves, and otherwise out of your business. You've done this for several years through the Southwick Civic Fund. So tell the folks from Southwick what you will be serving at that traditional Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, we'll start early, about 5 a.m. We've been doing some new formulas for hard cider. So we're going to start. We have 60 gallons brewing right now. So we're going to start drinking early. That's for sure. So once the alcohol is flowing, we don't know how it's going to taste. It's our first batch. We have 100 apple trees that we finally crushed the apples, yada, yada, yada. So that'll be good. And after we get drunk, we're going to put about 20 turkeys in the smoker. We'll cook for about 250 people. 300 pounds of mashed potatoes we'll make. And let's see what else we have. That
Stuffing.
100 pounds of stuffing. I think we have 100 pounds of a winter squash that a local restaurant puts together for us. And yeah, it's a great time. Great time.
That sounds great.
That sounds like my sort of day. I like the sound.
Smoked turkey. Smoked turkey. I've had that a couple of times in the States. That's really yummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have anything smoked in England. It's except for bacon. It's really boring.
Yeah. And with any luck, our wives won't be talking to us by noontime. So it'll be a good day all the way around.
Yeah.
And how about some pie for dessert? What kind of pie, Joe?
Pies. Oh my God. We're going to cook. We sell about 300 pies here, and we will cook and deliver, well, probably another 150. Apple, blueberry, pumpkin, strawberry, rhubarb, banana, chocolate cream, turtle pumpkin, and I think I'm missing one or two else.
Yeah, pecan.
Pecan, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we're baking.
It's starting to make me feel very hungry, can I just say?
Well,
Steven, I thought you were at a restaurant. I thought that was a menu board behind you, the way I was seeing it. And I was asking Doug if he could zoom in for pricing. I was trying to compare pricing, but it's not. From here, it looks like you're at a cafe with some kind of breakfast bar behind you.
Well, this is where I sit to do my council Zoom meetings.
There you go.
I haven't had it
But he
yet.
has the doors shut.
I have to have the doors shut. And my wife, you can sometimes hear clattering behind me. It's quite, yeah. No, not a restaurant.
Speaking of food, I'm very confused what you call chips. We call it.
What they're called?
Fries.
No. They're chips. So, okay, this is my surname is Chip, CHIPP, and my dad used to run fish and chip shops for the whole of my life. Do you know what a fish and chip shop is? Yeah, some yes, some no. Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
it's basically it's chips, not French fries. French fries are those thin, horrible things that McDonald's sell and Burger King and all the rest of it. Chips are properly cut potatoes that are then deep fried in a decent size, and we get a nice piece of cod and we batter it and we fry it, which is really healthy and good for your innards. And many years ago, it was the only takeaway really that people had, and it was traditional sort of on a Friday night. And my dad got into it. So yeah, I know I worked with my dad and my brother in partnership from the age of just after school, 17, and up to about 20, where I met my wife when we had a fish and chip shop in Mallorca, which is a little island off of Spain, believe it or not, but that's another story. But yeah, chips are proper. The stuff that's in a bag, they're called crisps. Yeah, they're not chips. They're not potato chips. They're crisps in this country. And fries are fries. That's what McDonald's sells, and they're French fries. But a proper chip is a decent sized bit of potato in a deep fat fryer. Fish and chips. You cannot beat it. And it has to be fresh and out of the paper, walking down the road. That's how to eat it.
Can I just remind everybody that that great Anglo-American Winston Churchill, because of course his mother was American, he once said that we were two great peoples divided by our common language.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
So,
that's correct.
Yeah, it does catch you out. And my daughter, who picks up these things like a magnet almost, drives us all mad, because she goes around using Americanisms, as we call it, all over the place. You know, I'm just taking out the trash. It's not trash, it's rubbish. You know, look, how do I get under the hood of my car? Your car hasn't got a hood, it's got a bonnet. So, you know, she goes on. Yes, never mind, sorry.
And Americans have taken to adding words to words. So it's not glasses, it's eyeglasses, right? Like we need instructions on where we're going to put them. I saw a skit on this the other day that, you know, that American English has kind of done that, you know, and the gentleman was making a thing, you know, they're glasses, not eyeglasses. What do you need instruction on where to put them? You know, that type of thing. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Americanisms are can be
Oh,
quite funny.
the one that's crossed from you to us fairly recently that's driving me insane is like you go into a McDonald's and you get a coffee and it's got caution, maybe hot. If it isn't, I don't want it. You know.
I think that had to do with a lawsuit.
Oh no,
Yep,
no,
it
it's
normally
just
is.
mad. It's just madness.
So Neil, why don't you lob a question across here and we'll see who to start that off with.
Ooh. Well, I know your population because I've checked you out. I don't really understand your system of local government. So Doug there, what is your title?
I'm the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, or actually we're called the Select Board these days in the interest of gender equality.
Oh yeah. You've got to be PC about
Oscar.
these things. Yeah. So is that like the local council?
Yeah. So, and Carl can explain this probably better than I, but we have a 3-member elected Board of Selectmen, and we rotate the roles on that board. So your last year before your term expires, you're the chair. Your second year, you're the vice chair, and your freshman year, you're the clerk. That's just by tradition here in our town.
So like the three of you run the show, but you do that by calling a public meeting and getting
Correct.
the people there to decide.
Correct. So the actual legislative branch of government in our town is open town meeting. So any registered voter can come and vote on a warrant, and the selectmen can't spend any money. They can't do it really much of anything other than, set policy and set articles forth for town meeting for the town to vote on. And then we also have, because we all 3 of us have day jobs, we have Carl, who's the chief administrative officer, and he's the chief executive of the town and actually administers the town's business day over day.
And who's above you?
The people of the town of
Voters.
Southwick.
No. So what's the next level of government above you?
Oh, the
Would be
state
a
government.
State
State.
government.
It is
The governor of
the
Yep,
the
the
governor and the senators,
Yes.
and that. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, yep. House of Representatives. We have a local representative who
Yeah.
lives in Southwick. It's Nick Boldiga. And we also have a state senator, and he represents several towns because of the population. There's
Yeah.
40 state senators in Massachusetts and 140 reps. And they make legislation at Beacon Hill in Boston, which is the state house. And then, so they're the legislative branch, and then the executive branch is the governor,
Yeah.
Charles Baker, and Karen Polito's the lieutenant governor.
And then you've got state governors and state representatives as well, haven't you? Because every state's got 2 senators. Is that
We've
right?
got 2 senators and then members in the House of Representatives as well.
Yeah.
Nine.
Right.
We have 9 representatives in the House of Representatives,
Okay, fine. Thank you.
all
Thank you.
apportioned by population.
It's, I say, it's a bit confusing for us because like you go to like in New York, I know they have councilmen, don't they?
Correct.
Yes.
So at the local level, even in Massachusetts, there's various forms of government that each city and town can adopt. By statute, a town under a certain population must have an open town meeting or something. When you get to the next level, you can become a city and have a city council. Some towns even still have a board of aldermen, which is essentially a city council. But you still have your local government and in different forms. And other towns, larger towns may have they call representative town meeting. So your town meeting members are elected instead of open town meeting where any registered voter can go and vote. But
Thank you.
essentially the same thing.
It does lose me a bit because I was in the States the last elections when Trump got in, and I found that fascinating because I was there for election day, and I was down in Florida.
Yeah.
I went round, had a look around the polling, turned up at the polling stations just to see what was going on, and explained who I was, and they showed me around how the polling station worked and everything. It was great. It was great.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was nothing like ours.
Well, now that we've thoroughly confused you on how this all works, I would tell you that our system of local government here in a small town in Western New England is relatively unique here in America. What you saw there in New Jersey with a board of freeholders, or what you would see in the city next to us, Westfield, with a city council. That's much more common, city council, town council, which I think is a lot closer to what you have. So we're a little bit different here. The other thing I
Yours
would
sounds like
fill
proper
in,
democracy, though. Yours sounds like proper democracy. It really does.
it is very democratic. We have our moments with it when we think maybe it would be better to drop a dime on the Queen and go back to having a colonial government to straighten things out for us. A number of us here have had some adventures with trying to get sewer systems installed in certain parts of the town. The more dense portions of town have sewers, other parts do not. And in my experience, if you want to have a Donnybrook, just a all no holds barred town meeting, you want to bring up a sewer bonding issue, and that will do it. If we do one of these again, which I won't be doing, but if we ever do, we'll give you a call and invite you over here to see it, because it's a fascinating process. Brings out both the best in people and sometimes the worst in them. But it is.
Okay, I bet. Yeah,
Oh, yes, I could, Neil, I can remember one time Jim had to moderate over a public meeting. It was not an actual town meeting where we were voting on legislation or approving something for a racetrack. And we had 1,200 people there who were interested in what was going to happen if we had a racetrack put on in a section of our community bordering into Westfield. And it was just an informational meeting only. And Jim had to use every skill set he had to facilitate running that meeting that night, especially
getting out live.
Oh yeah, that's a lot. I mean, you can't even find spaces. Once you get past that, you have to have meetings outdoors.
The other thing that takeaway I would leave with you is, generally we do not have warm feelings about the state government in Boston. We're very dependent on them. They have to review everything that we do. But we're not warm and fuzzy about the folks in Boston, because the fact of the matter is, and Carl probably can correct me on this, but 80% of the population in the state of Massachusetts is inside, within about 20 miles of Boston. So they make all the decisions down there. Sometimes they remember to tell us what they're doing. Other times they don't even do that. So it's kind of we love them when they give us money, and most of the rest of the time,
that isn't often, I bet.
most of the rest of the time it's like, so usually when in a town meeting or a select board meeting, when the term Boston comes up, it's not a term of endearment. It's a term of frustration a lot of times.
Although we are fortunate, Jim, that our governor was a selectman in Swampscott, and our lieutenant governor also was a select woman in Shrewsbury. So these particular people were local officials, so they know exactly what we go through.
So let's take one more question from both sides of the pond here, and then wrap up. It's coming up on an hour, and I don't want to abuse anybody's time. Deb, do you have a question for our friends in Southwick?
That's gone quick.
We have a group here called the Community Preservation, and we try and preserve farmlands and help with senior housing and things like that. Do you have such a thing there?
We've got the Southwick Society that are volunteers that preserve our heritage. They run the local museum, and they go around all the old buildings, making sure that nobody's doing anything to them they shouldn't do. Otherwise, they report them to the council and things like that. That's as far as it goes.
That's part of it.
Yeah. What else did yours do?
Well, I mean, Joe and Jim, you guys can talk about preserving farmland. right?
Right.
I'm going to ask a kind of a different angle on that question. So the beautiful national park that Stephen and Poppy took us for a walk through
Yep.
in a couple of the videos, how did that come to be? Is that something that the local municipality
The
did,
national
or
government decided.
Okay.
The
so?
nation- yeah,
National
It's
So
a
park.
that's
national
all.
park. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a national park.
So there's lots of places.
It's an act of parliament. It was an act of parliament.
Well,
Yeah.
see what Deb is referring to here is we actually have this, this committee is able to secure funds through a surcharge on the tax rate on everybody's real estate tax bill. And it goes into a pool of dollars, and then they evaluate requests from homeowners who could take their farmland and convert it into a subdivision for homes. And they'll buy those development rights, maybe along with the state as a local share to leverage it, or some other parcels might become available, like along our lakes, where we went and had a spirited debate about which way to do it, but everybody wanted to protect it. So those funds were used to secure the funding to buy that from an individual who could have sold it to the open market for a subdivision.
Well,
So, and then you keep that land as open land, as it
In
were.
perpetuity for the
Right.
residents of the
Yeah,
community.
well, as a council, we've just done that for the first time in a long time.
Ah, great.
Okay.
We had a bit of land that two separate developers have tried to build 300 or 400 houses on, but it's an area that floods. It floods because it's near the river, and both the first one bought it, then realised, oops, we've dropped a clanger. You know, we've done that wrong. So they then sold it on to the second developer, who was, I think you quaintly call, suckered into it, and they were stuck with it. And we've just done a deal with the second developer that they're buying a piece of land that used to be where our town hall wasn't a town, it was a civic centre was. They bought that land off us, and they're going to build 170 homes there, mainly for people who can't afford to buy their own. And part of the deal now is they don't give us quite as much money, and they've given us this bit of land, which is between Shoreham and Lancing. It's between two of the small towns. So, and that's going to be, you know, it's going to be natural sort of wildlife area, and it's quite a big, fair sized bit of land. So, and that's going to be kept in perpetuity for the locals.
Perfect.
That's
So we haven't been able to do that for a long time.
Yeah, well, we have done that, and we actually had an individual buy a lot of open space in town and develop it into a park and donate it to the town.
I think we could possibly have slightly less space in Southwick here than
a lot less than you good people have. A lot less, trust me.
So the biggest problem we have actually is one of development. I'm vice chair of the planning committee, and Neil as leader. The last few years, planning has been one of the biggest problems because everyone wants properties, but they don't want that type of property. They want it here, but they don't want it there. We have the South Downs National Park behind us, and we have the sea in front of us. So we have very limited amounts of space. So this bit of land that Neil's talking about is really key. I think we called it the lungs of, which was quite a good soundbite in terms of our local area, because it means that it's going to remain open. But yeah, we're limited in what we can do in terms of space here. Just limited. Geography, really.
And that's exactly, like Doug was on our planning board, which administers the zoning bylaws, which, you know, relates to development, exactly what you're talking about. And Marcus is on that board now too. So we have all sorts of developmental pressures for commercial and residential homes, because, you know, farmers have these large tracts of land, and at some point that's their retirement annuity.
And we'll sell it. Sure.
One thing we have in town, and I don't know how you operate, do you have local zoning bylaws or local rules that you enforce for development, or you use a higher level?
More national planning policy. We have what's called a local plan that was voted through 2017, 2016, 17.
17, yeah.
Yeah, 17. So that is a sort of framework of the areas that are entitled to be built on. And we had a lot of political problems. Obviously, we have opposition in our chamber, and they wanted certain areas taken out, etc., or they wanted much more numbers, or other people wanted much less numbers, and we were able to argue a lesser number than the government inspector had originally wanted. It's called objectively assessed need, housing need. So they will assess how many houses you're going to need between now and 2030, and we were able to argue successfully that we couldn't deliver that amount. And it's, so we work on a national framework, but our local plan gives us some structure that we can say, actually, no, that's not included within our local plan.
Because
the government, of course, the government being the government, they keep changing the rules.
Yeah, every week.
Well, fortunately here we have a lot of local control. Okay. And one of the things we have is called the flexible residential development approach, where the developer has to provide at least 40% open space. And in return, he can have, or she can have, narrower streets and smaller lots, so they can get more homes into the 60% or whatever that is allowed to be developed. And so we've had several of those in the town, and it helps to protect the open space. And the residents of those subdivisions get the benefit from seeing the scenery and being able to get out and walk around in this common open space. So it's been a good tool, but it's a challenge. Particularly, Southwick is kind of a bedroom community, so we're a suburban community, and the folks leave town, go to work, but they live here in Southwick. So
yeah, we're the same. Yeah, dormitory town they call it over here.
So Stephen, a last question that you and Sam had on your list, and then I'm going to ask Doug and Neil for a few closing words, and I'll wrap up so we use everybody's time well.
Sure. Well, I'm going to stick to the last question I put on my list, because I think it's a nice one to finish with, because it really has been lovely talking to you folks, and I really do mean that. It was, we know there's no exact link, but it's been a really nice link to have, and in the time of what we're all going through globally with this bloody pandemic, it's just been really nice, a nice good news story. So my final one is that when this virus is all over, can we come and visit, and is there somewhere that we can stay when we come over and visit?
We've got a hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Just get
We'll
the
make it work.
Well,
you're jumping ahead to my final words, but certainly a cordial invitation is open to both yours and Neil's families. We hope you will come and visit. We'd love to show you around, and it may take longer than a day if you come with me, because there's a lot of Southwick to show, and I know you like to hike, and there's lots of great hiking here in town.
He does, I don't.
And a pub.
Well,
and the pub.
Neil, you can go with me and
lots of
Joe.
great places to drink there, Neil, so we can do that too.
We need to find a bar as well. That's key.
Yeah, I like to eat.
Neil, we have you covered for that. No worries.
Yeah, we've got plenty.
We have plenty of those.
Eat and drink, that's me.
Now, we could have a little fun and put you up at the Southwick Inn. That's
We like these people, though.
That's a little bit of a
Okay.
joke, but I think we'll do better for you, and have you stay at a nicer place in one of the nearby towns here. somebody can correct me. There may be a bed and breakfast that would be nice, but I don't know of any respectable hotels that we would have here in
Not
Southwick
allowed,
proper.
not allowed at this
No.
time.
There's some lovely bed and breakfasts in the neighboring Suffield, and there's also very
Yes.
nice accommodations in Windsor Locks. We're only about 10 miles from Bradley International Airport, so there's plenty of hotels
Yeah.
not far from our town.
Lovely.
But we don't have a proper hotel in our town at this time.
But
No,
And of
we
course,
don't either.
there's always Uber.
Yeah, well,
They
correct.
don't use that sort of
You
language
won't-
that me.
You won't need
I'm a proper
Uber
taxi
because I'm
driver.
going to personally tour you around town, and we're going to think of some fun things to do here. And very
Be great.
sincerely, we'd love to do that. Take a few photos and continue the relationship here. So
Be good.
and you know. I just got to tell you, I'm coming your way. I don't know about anybody else, but
Just going to say exactly the same, and vice versa, folks. You need to come over.
It'll be on my list. I want to make it to that town green, you know.
yeah,
Oh, it's
absolutely.
beautiful.
Going
I
to
agree.
England is on my bucket list.
I tell you, we got near us.
Going
We've
to
got
England yet.
near us. We've got some amazing castles because obviously this was the part of England that everybody used to attack all the time. So there's all along our coast here. There's some amazing castles.
Yeah.
Built by the Romans, the Normans. Yeah.
You will not see it. You will not see a castle here in Southwick, although we do have a castle street.
Yeah.
And there's a story behind that we won't get into today. But so far, I want to see your village green. I want to
Yep.
hike at sunrise on the downs.
And you want to have a pint, I know.
I want to have a pint at Harvey's. I'm keeping a list here.
Okay. Jolly
And
good.
I want to see the ruins of the Roman villa.
Yeah, there's nothing to see there now, I'm afraid.
Oh, well,
It's
you're
all-
going to have
it's
to
all
work
good.
on that a little bit, Neil.
It's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
under,
sorry, that it was all built over. But
I was going to say, it's probably under a subdivision.
yeah, it's under a Methodist church.
Okay.
Oh, well.
So, Doug,
There
you
we
got
go.
some wrap-up comments?
I want to say, first of all, thank you, Jim, for facilitating this, and thanks to Stephen and Neil for joining us this afternoon, your time, and to
Pleasure,
everyone
pleasure.
from the Southwick
Genuine
Mass
pleasure.
side from joining. I mean, this certainly was entertaining. I certainly would love to visit Southwick, England, one of these days. I used to travel to England quite a bit, never made it to Southwick. But would love to visit, and certainly extend a warm invitation for you to visit here anytime. And Neil, Joe, and I will take you to one set of sites, and Stephen, you'll be with Jim, and we'll meet up at the Southwick Inn at the end of the day, apparently. But certainly you're more than welcome anytime. And Neil, if you're ever in New Jersey, we are literally about 3 hours by car from Freehold to Southwick.
Yeah.
So it's
so
not a real
that's-
big jaunt, right?
No,
Absolutely.
not that's not
No.
too bad at all, is it?
Yep,
Not
not at all.
not with Doug driving.
So, Neil,
you
you got some closing words for us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just so delighted that you did this, Jim. Sort of reached out to us, and it's been great. As Steve said, I love it in America. I always, when people over here start moaning about you good people, you're Americans, I say, go there. Have you been there? And of course they haven't. All they've seen is the loud ones in London who are being tourists. But I mean, it's such a wonderful, wonderful place. I've never been. The hospitality I always think is amazing in the States, as you're proving again today. And I really look forward to it. And you will regret the invite, but I will be there. I will be there.
Well,
we're
we look
looking forward to it.
We look forward to that. I should have mentioned we're going to go by Malicious and enjoy the world's greatest ice cream over there too. Would be helpful if you came in the warmer weather because it doesn't taste quite as good in January. But and
Yeah, now
Joe's,
January you get a bit cold in January, don't you? Yes.
Yes we do.
And
So,
I haven't got your book yet. I haven't got your book yet, Jim. But the museum's closed because we're on lockdown again. But you will be getting a book coming, mate. You will be getting a book coming.
sounds good, and we'll have another one to send your way that's going to come out in February. So we'll keep that on the list. So I am going to take the prerogative and ask one last question here. I hope I get it right. So I believe a gentleman named Peter Townsend is the poet laureate of England, right? Has a rock and roll band called The Who. And in 1968, he penned the words, ever since I was a young boy, I've played the silver ball. From Brighton down to Soho, I think I've played them all.
Yeah.
So the question for you gentlemen is the Brighton that's being referred to there, is that the Brighton that you're next door to? Or,
yes.
So did the pinball wizard come to Southwick?
Yeah, that's the one. It's the one
That's
next
the
door.
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome that you're memorialized in the
Supplement
pinball
concept.
wizard.
If you ever see the film Quadrophenia, there's a film
have.
called Quadrophenia.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's set in Brighton in the 60s. And
Okay.
It's worth watching.
Brighton's it's a city next door to us, and it's quite a place. You know, somebody 40 years ago said that it reminded him of somebody about to be arrested. And you know, it's always been really, really edgy. You've got to get. What's it? Can you see Brighton from your window?
Yeah. I'm going to try and show you how close we are.
Going to show how close we are to Brighton.
Hang on. So
But
there's.
Pinball
I
Wizard
can't really see from here. There's the power station, and just behind that tree there, where the power lines are, that's Brighton, just down there. It's not actually. I can't.
Awesome.
I need to go upstairs. I can see all of it from upstairs, but I might lose my connection, so I probably won't.
Don't chance it.
Where I am, I'm about 500 yards from the boundary of Brighton. Yeah. And it's a big city. I mean, we're not a big city. It's 350,000 people. We have to do a lot of work with them, though. You know,
Sure.
A lot of work with them. But that's another story for another day.
So Stephen and Neil, thank you for answering the email. It's a
Our
great
pleasure.
experience. Thank you for the videos. Thank you for being here, sharing a few
Our pleasure.
minutes on our 250th anniversary over here. I know you love your town of Southwick in England. I know why from all that you've shared. I hope you can see the love that we have for our town of Southwick on this side of the
And I
Atlantic.
can see why as well, yeah. Have
Happy
a wonderful
birthday
day, won't
to
you?
all the
Have a
people
wonderful
in
day.
Southwick.
You as well. Thank you so much again.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day.
Thank
Happy
you.
Bye,
birthday
everybody.
to you.
Bye.
Happy
Bye
birthday
now.
to you.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye
Take
now.
care. Bye-bye.